I bet you didn't know this, but most people can speak about 3 times faster than they can type. Now, that gap is not just speed, it's your thoughts getting watered down every time that your fingers can't keep up with your brain. Well, this product is built to fix that. Now, it feels like everyone is trying to solve the same problem right now. You have a thought, and then by the time you've unlocked your device, opened the right app, and started typing, something's already been lost. The idea's still there, it's just smaller than it was originally. Well, that's the pitch behind a whole category of AI voice tools that have appeared in the last year or so, things like Whisper Flow, Typeless, and others. There's also Apple's own dictation improvements as part of Apple Intelligence. It just never feels right saying those 2 words together, does it? Anyway, we now have various apps trying to be the thing between your brain and your keyboard, and now there's this. This is SpeakON, a physical button that you stick to the back of your phone. You press the button, you speak, and it does things, at least that's the idea. Well, in this video, we're going to see if it actually works. So this is a prototype unit. Thanks to the SpeakON team for sending this out, by the way. So the final packaging is not going to look like this. I'm not going to dwell on the box. What matters is what's inside. You've got the device itself. It's small, rounded. It's about the size of an AirPods case, but squared off, and it's super thin. This is clearly packing a lot of tech inside, and it's got a really lovely, pleasing form factor. It's got a kind of pebbled design on, which makes it both easy to grip, but also really nice to have in your hands. There's also a USB-C charging cable and a magnetic ring if you're using a phone case or something without MagSafe. Now, that last bit is pretty important because the whole thing attaches magnetically to the back of your phone while you record, which is actually quite clever when you use it in practice. Now, the first thing to do before anything else, you need to charge it, then download the SpeakON app, pair it, and this is the bit they really want you not to skip: run the firmware update before you do anything else. It takes less than a minute once it's done. Now, I did not do this the first time. Don't be me. Now, in terms of how it works, the actual interaction is super simple, and that's the general idea. You shouldn't be overthinking this. You just hold down this big button here. There's a green light and a little vibration so that you know it's listening, and then you say what you want to say, let go, and then that information syncs to the app. And from there, the AI does its thing. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because this isn't just transcription. There are loads of apps that can do transcription. What SpeakON does is process what you said and then turn it into something closer to what you meant. Now, check this out. I'm going to reply to this message here in WhatsApp. Mate, that is absolutely incredible news. Huge congratulations to you both. Pretty fast, right? There are a few standout features here that are doing all the lifting. Firstly, there's smart polish. This strips out all the filler words, the ums, the you knows, the sort ofs, and it gives you clean text without you having to edit it. There's also smart list, which is genuinely useful if you like to think and speak in sequences. So you can say, first do this, then do that, then do the next thing, and it comes out ready, formatted as a list. No extra steps needed. This might be really helpful if you're doing things like writing up standard operating procedures, or even something as trivial as grocery lists or steps in a workout. So one of the features that's doing the most work conceptually is called attune. It adapts the tone of what you said based on where you're going to be using it. So it'll generally be more professional in an email, more casual in a messaging app, and so on. You can also set it manually, off, casual, cordial, or formal. So the same rambling thought comes out differently depending on context. That's actually really clever and not something that I've seen before. Now, there is another feature coming that's called Refine, which I couldn't test in time for this video, but will do things that you're probably familiar with, like make this shorter, make this more casual, etc. And it will rewrite things on the spot. One to watch. And there's also real-time translation, which can be done directly in the chat input with just one tap. So if you compare this to, say, opening Google Translate, it is super seamless. So if you've got cross-language messaging going on, or you need to reply to someone quickly, this is a really neat feature to have. And crucially, this all works offline. So you can record an email response or a note without your phone nearby, and then when you reconnect, everything syncs automatically. And I think it's that kind of detail that makes this way more than just having a Bluetooth mic. So let me show you a few use cases where this thing really shines. And the first one is capturing a thought mid-walk. So here I am going for a walk. I had an idea for a video, held down the button, rambled on for about 30 seconds, and then let go. What came back in the app wasn't what I said word for word, but it was what I meant. It was what I originally thought. It was structured, readable, and just ready to copy and paste into a note or a doc. That part was genuinely really good. The challenge here is that it does have a 5-minute limit per recording session. So when you hit that limit, the LED flashes and you get a long vibration and then it just cuts off. So if you're the sort of person who likes to ramble on for ages, this is probably worth knowing about. Second use case is drafting a message in a hurry. Check this out. So I just wanted to reach out and, check in about sort of when you might be free to have a bit of a catch up, because I think we need to, go over a few things about the project. And I'm actually pretty flexible this week. I think I'm free most of Wednesday afternoon and all of Thursday apart from like the morning. So yeah, let me know what works for you and hopefully we can figure something out. So you can see there, the output is heavily edited from what I actually said, not just a simple trim of ums and ahs. Really, really good. A third common use case probably would be meeting follow-up. So let's imagine you come off a call and while it's all still in your head, you just hold the button down and then brain dump everything, including action items, decisions, and timescales. And this means that Smart Polish is going to clean it all up. Smart List is going to pull out all the actions automatically, and you've got your meeting notes before you've had your next coffee. This method is actually faster than some of those meeting summary tools that I've tested, and it also means that you have to actually engage your brain in the meeting too, rather than just assume it's going to be recorded and summarized for you. Now, you might be thinking, shouldn't this just be an app? Because that was one of my initial thoughts when I was testing this. And on one hand, yeah, there are other software and app-based tools that will do similar things. And in fact, the SpeakON app does in fact work just like this without the physical device present. Likewise, if we look at Apple's built-in offerings, their own dictation has improved dramatically, even if it doesn't do a great job at cutting out some of the noise. And to be fair, $129 is a meaningful ask for what is fundamentally a button and a microphone, and you're giving me more things to carry, charge, and be careful not to lose. But then on the other hand, things like offline recording is only possible when you have the hardware. The app-only version can't do this offline. Plus, having this connected doesn't occupy your phone mic or require constant background usage, so it's actually much more battery friendly on your phone. And anyone who's ever tried to record loads of voice memos on your iPhone will know that it eats battery faster than Cookie Monster in a biscuit factory with no supervision. There's definitely something about having a physical device with you that really does prompt you to change your behavior. And anyone who's tried Whisper Flow will tell you that even a keyboard shortcut can feel a lot more like friction maybe than it should. So having something that effectively has an invisible UI makes the interaction feel a lot more natural and organic. I think for me, after testing this out for a few weeks now, it kind of feels like the SpeakON app is the product, whereas this piece of hardware is kind of like the mechanism that will probably change your behavior. I think some people just need a physical trigger to actually adopt a new habit, and that certainly was the case for me. Okay, let's summarize here. The hardware with SpeakON is simple to the point of being boring, which is probably the right way to go. The interesting stuff is all in their software, and the software is, for the most part, doing exactly what it says on the tin. It speeds up how you interact with what is probably your most used device in a way that is a genuine improvement. I think to me, it felt a bit like switching to a bike when you've been walking everywhere for years, and whether that's worth it depends on how much of your life lives in typed communication. If you're sending dozens of messages a day and the gap between what you think and what you send actually matters to you, I think this is a very clever tool that will help you get more done. If you only occasionally dictate things and you're fine with Apple's built-in dictation, the case is harder to make, or you might just be better off with the SpeakON app instead. Now, just to be super clear on the pricing, it's $129 for the hardware. There is a bundle with a year of the Pro software subscription for $199. Every new user gets a 14-day free trial of the Pro subscription, so you're not buying blind, you're not being forced into anything to actually give it a go. And if you buy the device and you don't need the software subscription, it'll still work. You actually can access all the core features like polish, list, translation, and a limited amount of Attune. You just won't be able to sync it offline and get into your saved recordings. And the important thing is, without the subscription, in my testing, this was absolutely fine for everyday use. Now, I have worked with the team at SpeakON to get you a cheeky discount if you use my code at the link below or by scanning this over here. And if there are any questions you've got about this one that I've not covered in this video, just let me know your thoughts and I'll do my best to answer them down in the comments. Now, meanwhile, I'll be definitely curious to see what the final version of this looks like when it launches later this month. And if anything changes, I'll let you know. See you next time.